Today, we are talking about a franchise that basically shaped my childhood, your childhood, and probably the childhood of whoever invented the concept of childhood. I'm talking about The Legend of Zelda. Now, we all know that the Zelda community is passionate. That is the polite word for it. When Breath of the Wild dropped, it changed the landscape of open world games forever. Then Tears of the Kingdom came along and said, hold my potion, watch me build a functional combat mech out of tree logs and portable fans. Nintendo basically mastered the modern open world formula, but in doing so, they kind of left the classic traditional Zelda formula in the dust. But there is one game, one specific, beautiful, nautical masterpiece that fans absolutely refuse to let go of, the Wind Waker. Let's rewind the clock for a second. If you weren't around for the early 2000s, let me paint you a picture. People were wearing frosted tips, dial-up internet was still terrorizing households, and Nintendo unveiled the Wind Waker for the GameCube. And the gaming community lost their absolute minds, and not in a good way at first. Everyone was expecting a gritty, realistic Zelda game because of a Space World tech demo Nintendo had shown off earlier. Instead, we got Toon Link. We got cel-shaded, bright, colorful cartoon graphics. People jokingly called it Zelda. They were furious. They were writing angry, thousand-word forum posts on message boards that took 5 minutes to load per page. But then the game actually came out, and guess what? It was an absolute masterpiece. The art style aged like fine wine. Seriously, you look at Wind Waker today and it still looks gorgeous, whereas a lot of realistic games from 2002 look like someone smeared Vaseline over a pile of sharp, jagged polygons. Wind Waker became a beloved cult classic. It gave us the Great Sea, the King of Red Lions, and arguably the most expressive, hilarious version of Link we have ever seen. Fast forward to today, the internet is buzzing right now. Gamers are actually uniting. When I say uniting, I mean it. Do you know how hard it is to get gamers to agree on anything? You could ask a gaming forum if the sky is blue and you'd accidentally start a console war. But right now, everyone is looking at the exact same thing and collectively nodding their heads in awe. There's a fan-made concept out there right now created by a wildly talented YouTube channel called 16-Bit Dreams. They put together a concept trailer of what a direct Wind Waker sequel would look like if it was built using the Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom engine. And let me tell you, it is nothing short of absolutely amazing. Imagine the vast open ocean of Wind Waker, but with the physics, the scale, and the mechanical depth of modern Zelda. In this concept, we see the familiar cel-shaded aesthetic beautifully merged with the sweeping, atmospheric lighting and sheer breathtaking scale of Breath of the Wild. It's Hyrule, flooded but realized with modern technology. No loading screens between quadrants of the map, just seamless sailing across an endless blue ocean, watching the weather change dynamically, storm clouds rolling in naturally, the wind actually reacting to the environment in real time. Comment sections everywhere are exploding right now. People are saying things like, this imaginary Wind Waker sequel would make me go into debt and buy a Switch 2 just to play it. And honestly, same. I would empty my bank account. I would sell my aforementioned broken coffee maker. I would do whatever it takes. The community is looking at this and realizing that the Great Sea was basically the original open world Zelda. Think about it. Long before we were paragliding off the Great Plateau, we were using the Deku Leaf to glide over islands. The ocean was the open field, the boat was our horse. Wind Waker walked so Breath of the Wild could run. This concept brings up a massive point about Nintendo's current strategy, and this ties back into the marketing and business side of the gaming industry that I love nerding out over. Nintendo knows nostalgia is their biggest weapon. It is a literal money printer. They have the most recognizable IP on the planet, but they are also incredibly stubborn about moving backward. Shigeru Miyamoto and Eiji Onanuma are always looking for the next big gameplay hook. They rarely do direct traditional sequels unless there is a massive new mechanic to justify it. However, we have the Switch 2, or what I like to call the Super Switch, or the Switch U, whatever you like to call it. This could be a system seller. Now, realistically, a 3D Mario is probably going to be the next big thing, but down the line, imagine if Nintendo actually listened to this united chorus of gamers. Imagine if they looked at the millions of views on these fan concepts and realized that there's an entire generation of adults now who grew up on Wind Waker who now have disposable income. From a purely marketing standpoint, returning to the Wind Waker timeline with modern tech is the smartest move they could possibly make. You get the Breath of the Wild crowd who loves massive open world exploration, and you get the old school fans who want traditional dungeons, nautical exploration, and that undeniable classic charm. Let's theorize for a minute about how this would actually play. Because if we are sitting here talking for a while, we need to do a deep dive, and I am here to deliver. If we take the Breath of the Wild engine and apply it to a flooded Hyrule, the mechanics of sailing would be completely revolutionized. In the original game, sailing was, well, it was mostly just pointing in a direction, playing a quick song to change the wind, and waiting. It was relaxing, sure, but not exactly mechanically deep. Now add the physics engine of modern Zelda. Imagine having to manage the tension of your sails during a violent dynamic storm. Imagine rogue waves that you have to physically steer the King of Red Lions over so you don't capsize and lose your cargo. And what about underwater exploration? That's the one major thing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom completely ignored. We couldn't dive. What if a Wind Waker sequel finally opened up the depths of the ocean? You thought the depths in Tears of the Kingdom were terrifying? Imagine diving into pitch black ocean trenches with a limited oxygen or stamina meter to find ancient sunken temples. You drop a glow bloom seed in the water, and suddenly a massive bioluminescent Gyark swim past you in the dark. It'd be terrifying, it would be majestic, it would be the greatest game of all time. And let's talk about the islands themselves. In the original GameCube version, islands were pretty small due to hardware limitations. But with modern tech, an island could be the size of an entire region in Breath of the Wild. You pull your boat up to the sandy shore of Dragon Roost Island. Instead of a linear path up a mountain, you have an entirely open vertical playground to climb, explore, and conquer at your own pace. And let's not even get started on the lore implications. Zelda Timeline is already a giant spaghetti bowl of alternate realities, branching paths, and confusing reincarnations. But the adult timeline, which is where the Wind Waker sits, is arguably the most fascinating. After the flood, old Hyrule was entirely washed away. They found a new Hyrule in Spirit Tracks, but what happens after that? Or what happens in the uncharted waters beyond the edge of the map? A modern sequel could expand the lore in ways we haven't seen in decades. Imagine discovering remnants of the old world beneath the waves, unearthing old guardians that have been rusted out and completely overgrown with coral reefs, finding Zora civilizations that evolved differently because of the Great Flood. The narrative potential is practically writing itself. The fact that a simple fan trailer has ignited this much passion shows exactly what gamers want right now. We don't just want bigger maps, we don't just want more Ubisoft-style map markers to clear out, we want charm, we want soul. The modern gaming landscape right now is so painfully saturated with live service games, battle passes, microtransactions, and gray, gritty, ultra-realistic shooters. Don't get me wrong, I love a good competitive shooter, but sometimes my soul just needs bright blue water, a talking red boat, and a pig on an island that I can throw off a cliff just to see what happens. This whole situation also highlights the incredible, unbelievable talent in the gaming community. Creators like 16-Bit Dreams are out here using their free time to build concepts that legitimately rival multi-million-dollar AAA studios. It's wild. It shows the true power of community and the power of shared passion. When gamers unite over something positive, it's a genuinely beautiful thing. Usually we unite to complain about a botched launch, a terrible corporate decision, or a game running at 15 frames per second. So seeing everyone rally behind a shared positive dream of a Wind Waker sequel is just refreshing. It restores my faith in the internet just a little bit. But what do you guys think? Is this the direction Nintendo should take over the next mainline Zelda game, or should they stick to the massive land-based Hyrule we've seen in the last two games? Or maybe go somewhere entirely new? Honestly, part of me wants a futuristic cyberpunk Zelda just to see how weird they could get with it. Link on a neon motorcycle hacking into a Guardian mainframe. I'd buy it. But my heart belongs to the Great Sea. Before I wrap this up, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel lately. The growth has been awesome. And reading your comments is honestly the absolute highlight of my day. Even the ones telling me my opinions are absolute trash. Hey, engagement is engagement. If you enjoyed this video, do me a massive favor and hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that I'm slightly less irrelevant than I was yesterday. Subscribe if you're new here and want more gaming news, deep dives, commentary, and unhinged rants about consumer psychology and broken coffee machines. Remember to take care of yourselves out there, drink some water, play some good games, and maybe send a collective prayer to Nintendo HQ for that Wind Waker sequel. This has been Kyler Ray. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.